Dopamine. History. Dopamine was discovered by Swedish pharmacologist Alfred Karlsson in 1952. 5 years later, in 1957, Karlsson proved that dopamine was in fact a neurotransmitter. But it was not until 1959 when Karlsson's students, Bertler and Ave Rosengren, published a paper about dopamine that support grew and more studies took place. Dopamine's discovery changed the understanding of the brain and has created a whole new area of study and research. Structure. The chemical formula for dopamine is C8H11NO2, and the chemical name is hydroxythyramine. Dopamine is synthesized from the compound L-dihydroxyphenylalanine by the enzyme decarboxylase in the brain, making it a naturally occurring catecholamine. Uses. Dopamine's functions include movement, memory, pleasure, reward, behavior and cognition, attention, inhibition of prolactin production, sleep, mood, and learning. Dopamine is used to treat Parkinson's disease because it is a natural messenger between neurons, and when used, dopamine helps to control the impaired movements of the disease. Dopamine is known as the happy chemical, which is why it is sometimes used to treat depression. Dopamine naturally increases blood flow and the pumping strength of the heart, which is why it is used to treat low blood pressure caused by shock from a heart attack, trauma, or other serious medical condition. Dopamine is used as the pleasure chemical in the brain, and because the brain understands all pleasures in the same way, addiction affects dopamine. This illustrates a healthy neuron A with a neuron affected by addiction B. In a healthy neuron, vessels contain the dopamine neurotransmitter, which is released by the transporter in a controlled, steady way. The dopamine is then received by the receptors and it sends out a positive signal throughout the neuron. In a neuron that is affected by drugs, such as cocaine causes a buildup of dopamine in the transporter, which is then released all at once, and the receptors are flooded with dopamine, which sends out a strong positive signal throughout the neuron. Sources.